Public session.
Okay, good morning. Welcome to the July meeting of the New York State Joint Commission on Public Ethics. Just a quick hello to our newest commissioner, Carlene DePiero. We will get a chance, I'm sure, all of us to meet in Albany one of these days soon, but welcome and thank you so much for agreeing to do this.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
At the same time, I'd like to express for myself, and I think I'm sure on behalf of all the rest of the commissioners, our deepest thanks and gratitude to Seymour Knox, who is now rotated off of JCOPE, but he served with distinction, and I just wanted to be out there in the public record how much we appreciate his service and thank him for that. Behind attachment A, we have to approve the minutes from the last public session in June. Any comments? Can I have a motion to approve, please? Thank you.
Commissioner Yates.
Commissioner Yates, second.
Commissioner Sample.
Is there a second? Thank you. Sample. Thank you. All in favor?
This is a vote on the minutes.
This is a vote on the minutes, Marvin.
The minutes.
On the minutes, public minutes, yeah.
All of New York.
Albany as well.
I can't see Commissioner Levine.
Okay.
Unanimous WebEx.
Item.
And Bob. Okay, it looks unanimous.
We've got a bunch of people to scroll through. Okay. Item 3 on the agenda, report from staff.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'll do an update on outreach. Our education folks are continuing preparing for training. We're also looking to create specialized trainings for advisory boards and councils that concentrate on those portions of the public officers law that impact those individuals rather than a broader training, so that we can concentrate on issues that arise specifically under Public Officers Law 73 and once again special focus on 74. So that is a curriculum we are developing now and look to start implementing. Since the past meeting, we have done a reminder, an ethics reminder on the subject of textbooks going to CUNY and SUNY professors, and the issue of how to deal with the receipt of gratuitous receipt of textbooks from publishers. That's an issue that we frequently get, the attorneys here, and so we thought it best to address that issue. And I think, Keith, that's on our website. That's on our website, correct?
Yes.
Oh, and so that's available for public viewing as well. Generally, in the area of our lobbying regulations, which will become effective in January, there are a number of efforts underway. September 20th, we're going to be conducting in Albany an overview training. It's going to be held in the Legislative Office Building, Hearing Room A. We're going to have a WebEx component for people who can't attend, ultimately posted on our website as an intro and as a training for lobbyists and others who want to be trained in the new lobbying regulations. To that end, also, we published within the last few days a 2-page document saying it's called Key Features of JCOPE's New Lobbying Regulations. Just to be clear, it doesn't create any new regulations. It doesn't clarify our regulations, which are clear on their face. But what it does provide is a plain language highlights of some of the more outstanding features of those regulations. And once again, that's going to be the first part of an ongoing education effort we have, so we can be up and running in January with those regulations. To that end, also, October 25th, we will be doing a program with the New York City Law Institute at New York Law School. It's going to be in the afternoon, providing CLE credit. The focus will be the First Amendment and lobbying issues. We're putting together panels now, and the panel discussions we had last year were very successful and very well attended. And I think with this topic, it's also going to be well attended, and it will bring to light certainly some of the more intellectually and challenging issues that arise these days in the area of regulating lobbying. We also have a newsletter that went out as well, also posted on our website. So we're trying to get all of our educational materials available to the public with as broad an outreach as possible through our new improved website. But that's what we have on this.
Commissioner Yates, go ahead.
That September 20th event, is that part of, or can it be part of, our required training that we have to take as commissioners?
I don't think it qualifies under the statute. Monica, I think under the statute for what we have to take, I don't think it qualifies because it doesn't pick up those elements of the law that we're supposed to be training in under 73, 73A, 74. This is going to be strictly on the lobbying regulations themselves.
Okay.
Okay.
So unless there's more questions on outreach, I can turn talking about candidates at FDS.
Excuse me.
Commissioner
Quick
Weiss.
question, Seth.
Sure.
Go ahead, George.
For the September 20th, is it possible for you to arrange CLE? That might increase your audience.
We can look into it.
I'm sorry?
We'll look into it.
I'll look into it and get back to you. I don't know if it's
Okay.
possible with this kind of training, whether that's possible, but let's find out for you and I'll get back. Well
Okay,
before
thank
September,
you.
well before September 20th, so people can plan accordingly.
Okay. FDS filings.
Sure. So this is just to remind everyone that candidates for statewide and legislative offices, for state legislative offices, must file financial disclosure statements. Those FDSs for candidates are also available on request to JCO. Our staff is actively pursuing compliance for those candidates that have not timely filed in order to ensure compliance prior to the primary. If candidates fail to file, then notices of delinquency will be sent and have been sent, and they will continue to be posted on our website so the public is a bit aware of whether or not a candidate has failed to file. If there are no questions, we can move on to the financial report.
Any questions? Yes,
Quick
George.
one. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I guess I'm too far away. Monica, did we ever update the website to indicate the various agencies that had delinquent filers, as was discussed at the last meeting?
We have not done that yet. We wanted to talk about enforcement and compliance with the commission in executive session.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, first quarter financials.
Thank you.
Steve.
In the 2018-19 enacted state budget, the agency received an appropriation of $5,582,000, which is the same as last year. And DOB allocated a cash allowance of $5,531,000. For the first quarter, which is April 1 to June 30th, the agency spent in personal services almost $1,215,000, or just a little over 26% of our budget, cash budget. For non-personal services, which include supplies, equipment, travel, and contractual services, the agency spent $149,000, or 16% of its budget. And so overall, we're right on track for total expenditures of $1,363,000, or 24.7% of our budget. Any questions? Thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry? Was someone asking something?
Yeah, this is Commissioner Small.
Oh, Dawn, we can't see your face really, Dawn.
Sorry.
You can,
Can you see me?
yeah, a little bit. We can see you from there we go. Now we got you. Okay. Commissioner Smalls, please.
So I actually had a question about the late filers. I think that Monica was talking about in terms of the assembly and efforts to get them to file before the primary. How many? I think the primary is September 13th. Is that right? I mean, I think that's about 6 weeks away.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
So how many people do we have outstanding that haven't filed in terms of getting that information out before the primary?
So it's a rolling process because the obligation to file starts when you become a candidate, and there's technical rules about when someone becomes a candidate. Martin, you might be able to answer those questions if Commissioner Smalls has specific questions about that. So with respect to the legislative candidates, the Legislative Ethics Commission does the initial outreach to notify candidates that they have to file when they identify the candidates working with the Board of Elections. Once they've done that notification, the filing is first submitted to the LEC, which then sends it over to JCOPE. And they are sending us filings on a weekly basis or notifying us of the names of people who have not yet filed. And then we are sending out fail to file notices. There are a significant number who have filed and a significant number who have not filed. My understanding is that we are about to send out, I think, 100 to 200 fail to file notices. Remember, these aren't always just the majority parties, that, Democrat and Republican, there's many parties. And there's many candidates. We are also doing and pursuing compliance with statewide electeds, and we have already sent out notices of delinquencies to at least one statewide. It's posted on our website, and we have sent out failed files and pursued compliance and obtained compliance. So, as I said, it's an ongoing process.
Okay.
But we're doing everything.
I don't have a sense of scope when you say 1 to 200 letters of delinquency. I don't know that there are more than 200 candidates. I mean, I just don't know. So, like, when you say that, I don't have perspective for the scope of delinquency, is a better way to say it.
So Stephanie Blattmacher, who is the Assistant Director of Financial Disclosure Statement, was unable to be here today, and she would be able to answer more specific questions. I certainly can get that information and get it to you. Martin, I don't know if from your experience you have a sense of the numbers and might be able to answer Commissioner Small's question.
Well, I mean, just factually, there's 213 seats up for election, so, with likely 2 to 3 candidates, you can see we're in the 4 to 600 candidate range. So, and as Monica said, we're doing compliance and posting as they come in on a weekly, if not more frequent basis from LEC. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Item 4 is new and other business. I don't believe we have any, but Commissioner Yates has an issue he'd like to bring to the table. Commissioner.
Yes, thank you. Last time we met, there were various legislative proposals that were discussed, and I'd like to, if the Commission agrees, ask the staff to prepare for the next meeting another legislative proposal. The public, and especially the media, seems to often get the wrong impression that we're not doing anything when a complaint has been filed. And they may be well aware of the fact that a complaint has been filed, but any time that they ask for the status of it, we're required by law to say no comment, because there are no exceptions that would apply in that situation to the confidentiality rule. I would ask the legislature, if the Commission approves and if staff prepares something along this line, and that would be an amendment to Executive Law 94, that if a complaint is public, and it frequently is because more often than not the complainant tells the press that they filed a complaint. If a complaint is public, and the Commission, our spokesperson, through our spokesperson, is asked about the status of that after first giving the subject an opportunity to be heard and consideration if there's any reason to not answer, after that the Commission could authorize the spokesperson to say, to either affirm or deny that there's an active investigation or not active or deferred at the request of prosecution. As you know, and it's public, I'm not revealing any secrets here, that it is our policy to defer to a prosecution, and that's frequently the case. And so I think that the public ought to, at the very least, if they're aware of the complaint and they know that JCOPE is considering it, be able to be advised on whether it's active, inactive, or deferred. That would be my proposal.
Your proposal is that staff be authorized to prepare
Well,
for our consideration.
Right.
Amen.
That, and especially if there, I mean, I don't want to get too much into details, but it seems to me if the subject gives a reason for why it shouldn't be answered, that it would require a commission vote before there would be a public answer. But that all answers, by the way, would be through either the chair or our designated spokesperson. The commissioners on their own would still be bound by confidentiality.
So
But
this
your immediate request is that the commission do something today?
No, what I'm asking yes, I'm asking that for our next meeting, because I didn't spell out the details here, obviously, and the devil's always in the details in legislation, that staff prepare a draft, and I'll work with them, any other members who want to work with them on that, prepare a draft for the consideration of the commission at the next meeting to see whether the commission wants to adopt it as a legislative proposal.
We'll prepare it. We'll prepare a draft.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. That concludes the executive session. Before we vote to move into executive session, excuse me, that concludes the public session. Before we vote to go into executive session, I just want to point out for anybody who is intending to come back for the second public session that we have a really lengthy executive agenda today. So just if you have issues of timing, just be forewarned. Having said that, can I have a motion, please, to enter into executive session? Thank you, Commissioner. Second. Thank you, Commissioner. All in favor?
Unanimous in Albany.
You've got New York City, and that was Commissioner Yates and then Commissioner Jacobs.
Okay, we're adjourned.
I wish that I could have gotten there this time. I think it's a different dynamic when you're there.
We're back in public session. We're in public session, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Okay, thank you. In the executive session, we discussed the litigation matter. We approved 2 settlements. We commenced investigations, discussed and voted on other investigative matters, and discussed a personnel matter. At this time, I need a motion to adjourn the public meeting. Thank you, Commissioner. Second, thank you, Commissioner. All in favor?
Aye.
Do you know?
Unanimous?
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. See you in September. Have a great rest of the summer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
That wasn't bad. 2 o'clock. I didn't think we'd make it.
Bye.